Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for coming out and being here with us today. I'm Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. I'm joined today by quite a large number of my colleagues in government, as well as other concerned New Yorkers. And we are here today because my office has filed 2 lawsuits to stop the flow of deadly designer drugs, such as synthetic marijuana, into our communities. And I'm pleased to be joined today by Congressman Jose Serrano, Senate Independent Democratic Conference Leader Jeff Klein, Assembly Member and leader of many things, Marcos Crespo, State Senator Gustavo Rivera, State Senator Jose Serrano Jr., Assembly Member Mark Jonai, Council Member Vanessa Gibson, Assembly Member Michael Blake, Assembly Member, is Luis here? Sepulveda? No. Deputy Borough President Aurelia Green, and Warren Zeisman, the CEO of ACI Chemical Dependency Treatment Centers. We have, oh, and excuse me, Councilman Andy King. And Andy Cohen. This is. I apologize, but this is an issue that has got. This is an issue that has brought together many people looking for solutions. This is a deadly plague in many of our communities. And the fact that so many of our public officials from the Bronx have turned out today is a reflection of their commitment to solving this problem. Our office has been dealing with this problem of synthetic drugs or designer drugs for the last couple of years with tremendous success, and we need to expand those efforts because the problem is not going away. Synthetic marijuana and other similar drugs have a host of psychoactive chemicals that are sold as tinctures, liquids, and even as candy. We see the damage on our streets and in our emergency rooms. But today, as we have in 24 cases across the state, my office is fighting back. We have filed 2 lawsuits against 2 companies that peddle these dangerous designer drugs, the Liquid Glass Shop, which is just a short drive away in Nyack, New York, and Surrealistic Sensations, which is an online realtor based in Western New York, but that was shipping these designer drugs here to the Bronx. I'm confident that as a result of our action, we will obtain court orders. I believe 1 temporary restraining order has already been issued, and they will obtain further court orders permanently barring both of these companies from selling these drugs, just as we've done with more than 20 other retailers across the state. Our enforcement efforts are part of a comprehensive strategy to put a stop to the scourge of designer drugs, and you will hear from some of my partners in government in a moment about other steps that are being taken and other things that we are doing at both the city and state level. We're all committed to working together on this problem, and I share with my colleagues here today a commitment to using every tool in the toolbox, and if those tools aren't enough, we're going to invent some new tools. Designer drugs mimic the effects of street drugs like meth, cocaine, and marijuana. They are very easily get into the hands of children, and in many cases, designer drugs are more dangerous and produce more dangerous effects than actual street drugs. For example, synthetic marijuana is much more likely to produce seizures and psychological damage than actual marijuana. As dangerous as these drugs can be, it's very challenging for law enforcement to deal with them. This is because they are chemically designed to evade classification as controlled substances. The chemical makeup shifts all the time. They're also designed to be undetectable by standard drug tests. The wide variety of chemicals in these drugs and the effects they claim to produce is astonishing. But they all have one thing in common. None of us, and certainly not the people who are consuming them, know what's in them. That is a severe problem, and it shows up in our emergency rooms every day that someone comes in with a problem of having taken designer drugs and having a seizure or blacking out. Because as dangerous as street drugs are, if you show up in an emergency room and you've overdosed on heroin or cocaine, doctors at least know what the drug is. They know what the protocols are. Police and EMTs on the scene know what to do, what they're dealing with. When someone passes out or has another bad reaction to a designer drug, hospitals, EMTs, police, we really don't know what we're dealing with. And these bad reactions are becoming more and more common. Over 2 months this summer, New York State experienced a 10-fold increase in emergency room visits and calls to the Poison Control Center related to synthetic marijuana compared to the previous year. tenfold increase. This is truly a scourge in our communities. And if you can see from the packaging here, designer drugs are marketed in a misleading way and often designed to appeal to children. They are typically packaged with catchy names and bright graphics, sometimes presented as a natural, safer alternative to drugs. This is a product called Blue Lotus, and it says it will give you feelings of tranquility and euphoria. Nowhere on the package does it tell you that drugs such as these have been known to cause psychosis, organ failure, asphyxiation, and even death. And well, there's some of the products, I think unwittingly, are actually a little more honest. This one is called Psycho, suggesting, and it is quite possible, that it may cause psychological damage or make you lose your mind. So it's also important to recognize that there is no standard for the drugs. A store may sell something called K2 or Green Giant, but there's no reason to believe the active ingredients in that product will be the same as something sold under the same name in a different store. This is a totally unregulated, deceptive, illegal market. Now, federal and state laws require that all consumers' commodities have to have a label that describes what the product is, what it's made out of, and who makes, packages, and distributes it. Drugs of any kind must also be labeled with directions for use and comprehensive, understandable warning information. So the products that my investigators purchased from both the Liquid Glass Shop and Surrealistic Sensations met none of these standards. And in the actions we filed today, we're seeking to shut down any further sale by these retailers of these dangerous products. We have already shut down nearly 24 businesses selling products like this all across the state of New York, and we expect the same result here. Now, our strategy in these cases is simple. It's very tough for law enforcement to go after these drugs because they change the chemicals all the time, and they're designed to evade detection. So we came up with an innovative approach of using the civil law, consumer protection and labeling laws, to get civil injunctions. None of these packages follow the consumer protection laws. So we've gotten court order in every court we've gone into across the state of New York, clearing the shelves of these products, and in many cases head shops have had to shut down because they just couldn't stay in business after we cleared the shelves of their synthetic drugs. We are going to hear about other approaches that some of my colleagues are taking. Senator Klein and Assemblymember Jonay have a bill, several bills that are going to give new tools to law enforcement to deal with this problem. But we're here today because today we've taken concrete steps, and we want to urge everyone in the public health community, everyone in law enforcement, everyone of our colleagues in government, it is time now to take an aggressive, comprehensive approach to this problem. My office has developed a unique way to do this. We can do it in more courts and against more stores if we have more support. We're looking to do that with the City Department of Consumer Affairs. We're looking to do that with any local government that wants to work with us. We've had tremendous success thus far, and I'm sure we'll have success with the 2 cases we filed today. And, and now I'm proud to bring up someone who has been a colleague of mine and a friend for a long time, and has been through many, many crime waves and drug waves, the congressman representing much of the Bronx, Jose Serrano.
Thank you so much. This is really a crisis, and I'm so proud of the fact that you, Mr. Attorney General, and my friend, my brother, has taken it this quickly and put an attack on it. I also want to thank my colleagues for understanding, as they do, the importance of this issue and coming together. Let me be clear. I speak for myself. I don't speak for the Attorney General right now. I don't speak for anyone else here. But to me, the people who manufacture these things are no different than the local drug dealer. The local drug dealer, the only difference is that there are laws that deal with that. And we're trying to come up with the approach now to deal with this. But these folks are just hiding by not giving you the full information. You know, you buy medication of any kind, and usually it's a little bottle, and inside that package there are 17 pages telling you of the side effects and all the other problems that it can cause. Those are the laws we have. You don't get that here. And so people are being enticed to join up and to use something. And God knows, we don't need any more drugs in our community. We don't need anyone else coming into our communities and enticing young people to fall into this trap. And so, to me, This is something that has to be stopped, and the Attorney General has been known to use every tool available to stop it. I'm here to tell you that at the federal level, you tell me what you need me to do, and we will do it. We'll get the New York delegation to do it with you, and we thank you for this effort, and always reminding ourselves that, and this is something that, you know, I've often told people, if I had 10 years to study right now, I would study the criminal mind, because there is so much talent that is used for wrong things when it could be used for good things. And so people like the Attorney General, legislators, we always have to be at least one step with the folks out there trying to create something new to hurt our community. This is newer. This is to hurt our community. He's trying to stop it. We're all committed to making it stop. And we are sending a message to these folks. Don't go by the fancy labels. Don't go by the lies. We know what this is. We know what harm this causes, and we're going to do everything we can at every level of government to stop you from hurting our community anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressista. Thank you. And now, Senate Leader Jeff Klein, one of the most innovative and aggressive legislators to speak to this, and actually to follow up and address something that relates to the federal law on this issue that he is seeking to take advantage of with legislation at the state level. Senator.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, for once again leading the way on such an important issue. This is truly what the Attorney General is doing, is dealing another blow to the ongoing fight against K2 sales in New York State. I think I can speak for almost everyone here today, where I think we have to do something very simple. We have to KO K2 from upstate to downstate. This is something that's causing havoc in our communities. Just earlier during the summer, myself and Assemblymember Joe and I conducted a study just within the communities that we represented. And we were able to have young people go in and buy from grocery stores and bodegas all over the Bronx at 25 locations in 1 week. 25 locations. 700 people being admitted to emergency rooms in just 3 hospitals here in Bronx County. Unfortunately, Bronx County has gotten the dubious distinction of being really the epicenter of K2. We need to stop it. We need to stop it now. And I want to congratulate again the Attorney General, because we're really taking this from all different levels. The City Council passed legislation. I know the U.S. Attorney made a major bust. Now with Attorney General Schneiderman's effort, we're doing everything possible to make sure we get K2 off our streets. I joined the Bodega Association several weeks ago, where they took a pledge along with myself and other local elected officials that they're no longer going to sell K2 in any one of their stores. We cracked down on online sellers, people like Craigslist and others that were selling not only K2 directly, but all the paraphernalia you need to use it as well as manufacture it. We need a law. We need a law in New York State that actually bans the sale of K2. And I have taken a very comprehensive approach where I think we need to do 2 things. First of all, if you're going to sell K2, which mimics organic marijuana, well, it should be illegal just as the sale of marijuana is in the state of New York. We also have to crack down further on grocery stores or anyone else who chooses to sell K2. My legislation would be a $2,000 fine for a first offense, a $5,000 fine for a second offense, and finally 3 strikes, you're out. You sell synthetic marijuana 3 times, you lose your license to sell beer, lottery, as well as cigarettes. And everyone knows that's the lifeblood of any grocery or convenience store. Finally, I think the most important thing we need to do today is pass legislation, which I passed 3 years in a row in the New York State Senate. Which once and for all will create an analog bill in the state of New York. Right now, it is illegal to sell K2 or any synthetic drug on the federal level because they have an analog law, which constantly allows us to get ahead of the curve when we're dealing with these mad chemists and labs that are creating this poison for our kids. If we have an analog law, we can get rid of synthetic marijuana and anything else that these devious minds choose to create that are going to poison our young people. So I'm still hopeful that when we go back to Albany, the Assembly will take up the cause and finally pass the analog bill and put synthetic drugs of all kinds out of business here in the state of New York. Thank you again, Attorney General Schneiderman.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Tremendously important. And now, Assembly member working with Senator Klein on this issue, a good friend and a crusader for his community, Mark Jonai.
Good morning. I want to just thank the Attorney General for coming up with this creative way of attacking synthetic marijuana sale and distribution. I'll be working hard with my Assembly colleagues to make sure that we pass the legislation required to challenge and stop the sale of this drug. This epidemic is warranted, as you can see by all of the city, state, and federal legislators behind me. It is too readily available and too inexpensive, and it is the most dangerous drug on our streets today because it's not only destroying the lives of our children, but families also. So thank you, Attorney General, and we'll continue to be partners in this as we face the challenges with this ever-changing synthetic drug.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly member. And now to representing the City Council, which has taken action very recently in this area, Council Member Vanessa Gibson.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for everyone's presence here today. Thank you very much to the Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, to you and your team for taking a very bold and aggressive step in tackling this epidemic that unfortunately is exploding right in our communities, tearing at the hearts of the public health and public safety of all New Yorkers across this state. I am truly proud to stand here with all of my distinguished colleagues in government in our collective efforts to make sure that we ban the sale of K2, also known by many different names, synthetic marijuana, Scooby snacks, AK-47, and Spice, just to name a few. Truly, it has been an honor working with my colleagues in the New York City Council under the leadership of our Speaker, Melissa Mark Viverito, who's taken a very proactive and aggressive step of action against K2. Very recently, my committee, the Committee on Public Safety, joined with the Committees on Health, Mental Health, and Consumer Affairs to have a hearing last week on 3 very important pieces of legislation that are going to serve to make a significant difference in this city. We recognize that K2 is being sold in our communities, in our grocery stores, in our bodegas. It's very inexpensive. The wrapper is extremely attractive, and it's also promoted as potpourri and aromatherapy, and it says not for human consumption. It is none of that. Our city hospitals have seen over 4,000 hospitalizations to date of individuals who have been affected by K2 synthetic cannabinoids. So we know this is an issue that we must tackle in a very aggressive way. The 3 bills that we have passed at the City Council overwhelmingly last week, and we expect our Mayor, Bill de Blasio, to sign all 3 into law, would do a series of things. The first bill in this package would prohibit the sale or intention to sell K2 or an imitation of K2. Possession of more than 10 units of this substance would presumptively be viewed as an intention to sell under this law and would be punishable by a fine of $5,000 or 1 year in prison or both. The person or business violating this law would also be liable for civil penalties that accumulate daily, potentially rising as high as $50,000. The bill does not criminalize substance abusers, but rather makes it possible for law enforcement to go after the manufacturers and distributors of synthetic illegal substances. The second bill would add synthetic drug violations to the current list of violations that fall under the New York City's nuisance abatement law. Specifically, it would allow those stores that are selling substances like K2 to be declared a public nuisance, allowing the city to temporarily or permanently shut down the business. The third bill would add synthetic drug violations to the current list of violations that require suspension for the first violations and revocation for subsequent violations of a violator's retail cigarette dealer license. It would also allow the city's Department of Consumer Affairs to refuse to renew a cigarette dealer license if that holder has been convicted of a violation of the main law in this package relating to the intended sale or distribution of K2 or K2-like substances. We're sending a very clear message across this city that we are not victimizing drug users. We recognize many individuals across our city are using K2 for a reason. Some of them are using it to beat a drug test if they're on probation or on parole. Many of them are facing other challenges and are using K2 as a source. So this message that we send as city, state, and federal legislators is if you are a business in this state, we're going after you. Manufacturers and distributors, we will not allow you to destroy our communities. We will send that message through legislation in our partnership to make sure that we protect the public health and the public safety of every New Yorker. And as the chair of the Committee on Public Safety in the City Council, I am thankful for the leadership of all of my colleagues, the Speaker, Council Members Dan Garodnick and Ruben Wills. Thank you to my Bronx colleagues who are here, Council Member Fernando Cabrera, Andy Cohen, and Andy King. Thank you once again, Mr. Attorney General, for your leadership. We stand with you and we will walk with you in this collective journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council Member. Thank you. And there are so many people here. I apologize, Council Member Cabrera and my other colleagues. Listen, the reason everyone is here today, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are a part of a large coalition that has formed in response to this in recent months. Senator Klein was saying you could call us the coalition to KO, K2. But look at the way this stuff is marketed, ladies and gentlemen. It is designed to look like a health food product. It is designed to send the message that it's good for you, that it's sort of like an herbal remedy. It is labeled in ways that suggest it's something that you might want to give someone who is having an anxiety attack. This is the worst of the worst. These are dangerous chemicals. They're not properly labeled, so we don't know what they are, and they're being sold into our streets. They're getting to our children every day. The level of commitment you see here today, the creativity and the multi-pronged approach that we are taking to this is an indication that here in New York, we're taking this seriously and that our coalition is going to get the job done by whatever means are necessary and using every tool in our toolbox. Thank you all for being here with us today.
Take some questions, starting on this topic. Anyone?
Well, I'll go for it. So, I mean, it seems like you're targeting not necessarily the marijuana, synthetic marijuana that you're smoking it. So, is that something that you're targeting as well, or just these oils and drops?
Oh no, some of it is sold in the form of a tincture. This also can be used they sell stuff in tinctures that's then rubbed on leaves to make synthetic marijuana. We're going after it if it's in synthetic marijuana form, if it's in liquid form, if it is in a form that you may recall a few years ago, people were smoking what they were being sold as bath salts that were actually drugs. And in these stores where they sell them, they will sell you something like this, and then they'll recommend which type of pipe to use. So there's no confusion about what it's being sold for. But we're targeting synthetic marijuana, bath salts, liquids, solids, whatever form it is sold in.
Why these two stores? Are these businesses that just come as part of the investigation, or is there something special?
We've targeted, these stores are, I think, the 23rd and 24th stores across the state of New York that we have gone after. And as I say, this is an approach that was developed in my office that no one else has used so far. Using the consumer protection laws, we're getting civil injunctions, clearing this stuff off the shelf. So this is an ongoing series of investigations by my office, and we particularly are concerned about online sellers, like the one in Western New York that we've gotten a temporary restraining order blocking them from shipping any more of these products today. This is available in bodegas, this is available on street corners, and it's also available online, ladies and gentlemen. But the commitment you see here, represented by the great turnout of my colleagues, is strong, and we're going to deal with it however they sell it.
The others on this topic?
Could you address the consumer alerts that you sent out for bodegas?
Hold on, we have a question here first. Go ahead.
Could you address the consumer alert you sent out about the playoff games, Yankees and Mets?
Okay, so we're off.
We're moving off topic.
Okay, so hold on. Yes.
If you want to stay on this, if you guys want to finish this topic, that's fine with me.
Okay. I think we can move off. I think we can move off. Okay, so yes, we sent out an alert. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever there is a big sporting event, scammers come out of the woodwork. We're now seeing going into the playoffs with both of our teams in baseball. Time for celebration, but a time for caution. So on our website, ag.ny.gov, we have details about how to avoid ticket scammers, recommending to people that you do not pay cash, you do not do prepaid wire transfers. There are regulated ticket dealers that are registered with the Better Business Bureau. You can find out who they are. If you go with someone, buy tickets from someone that's not registered, that's not a legitimate ticket dealer, you may very well have your money taken and get a ticket that's useless. Some folks are just Xeroxing or printing over and over again the same ticket. Once that ticket is swiped for the barcode at the stadium, no one else can get in with it. So just be careful of what you're getting. Go online, start with the team websites. After that, only buy from registered ticket dealers. This is a problem that costs New Yorkers tens of thousands of dollars for any major event. We're New Yorkers, we're savvy, we're smart, we got great baseball teams. Let's be savvy and smart about buying tickets too. Mets and Yankees. I am loyal to my roots, but I celebrate our brothers and sisters in Queens. You remember my earlier testimony. Yes, I stand consistent with that.
Can I ask you about the governor's race? Are you planning to run for governor? Do you think Cuomo will run again, or is he looking at something else? Answer to both questions.
This is. I fully expect the governor to run for a third term and to support him. I've answered this question before.
My question was a lot easier, wasn't it?
Anything else?
Wait, no, hold on. Since everybody's here, we're not gonna go that far. Mr. Crespo, can you talk a little bit about the DA's race? I mean, there's a lot of rumbling going on. We had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Klein about it.
We could talk about that off to the side.
Off to the side. All right.
Okay. Thank you all very much.